Well, good morning, distinguished guests, speakers, ANA members, and friends. Welcome to the first U.S.-Azerbaijan Academic Symposium. I'm pleased to see so many colleagues and friends from the different organizations, international organizations, research organizations, embassies, State Department, World Bank. Welcome. It's a pleasure to see you all here in Washington, D.C. The first U.S.-Azerbaijan Academic Symposium provides a very unique opportunity for all of us. Here you will meet doctoral students, professors, practitioners, government officials from your own specialty area to share common knowledge and experience. ANA Symposium organizing team members in the U.S. have worked really hard for the last 6 months to make this happen. I would like to thank especially to our ANA core team members for making this happen. We have prepared many panels to discuss the impact of human capital development and economic growth, the beauty of science and technology, importance of national identity, and urgency of agricultural innovations while celebrating our global friendship. For better and strong future, we have to start talking about challenges now. We have to discuss, we have to bring the research to the table so that we can convert practical knowledge to practical tools. You're in the right place if you agree with me. Strong partnership and generous sponsorship from many companies, research organizations from the US and Azerbaijan recognize that the first US-Azerbaijan Academic Symposium is an important venue to discuss educational collaboration. We would like to take a moment to thank our partners, generous sponsors who supported us throughout the process. First, we would like to thank the US-Azerbaijan Chamber of Commerce for providing institutional support. We would like to thank the U.S. State Department, Bureau of Education and Cultural Affairs, Azerbaijan Embassy in the United States, and the U.S. Embassy in Azerbaijan for their continued strong support to strengthen the U.S.-Azerbaijan relations through academic exchange and research programs. As an alumni of 2 U.S. Department programs, I can assure you that this kind of joint collaboration greatly contributes to the development efforts. ANA team would like to thank the Ministry of Education of the Republic of Azerbaijan for their continued support and encouragement. We would like to thank the George Washington University School of Education, Graduate School of Education and Human Development for being a strong partner of initiatives and projects that support research and development in Azerbaijan. We have special guests from the World Bank. We would like to thank the colleagues from the World Bank for joining us to emphasize the importance of translating research into practice. Special thanks to our sponsors, BP Azerbaijan and Caspian Foundation, for their generous support. Dear partners, sponsors, and supporters, without your generous support, this conference wouldn't be possible. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite Dr. Michael Foyer, the Dean of the Graduate School of Education and Human Development and Professor of Education Policy at the George Washington University and immediate past President of the National Academy of Education. Prior to his joining GW, for the previous 17 years, Dean Foyer held positions at the National Research Council of National Academies, most recently as the Executive Director of Division of Behavioral and Social Sciences and Education. He also served as a Senior Analyst and Project Director at the U.S. Congress Office of Technology Assessment. Dean Foyer is a Fellow of the American Association for Advancement of Science and the American Educational Research Association. Dean Foyer, the floor is yours.
Well, good morning all and welcome. Thank you so much, Sevinch. One of the biggest pleasures I have as the Dean of our Graduate School of Education is interacting with our students. And I just want everybody to know how wonderful it is to have students who are as accomplished and poised and smart and bossy as our Savinj. So thank you very much, Savinj. It's a special honor for me to be here and to welcome the ambassador. Welcome, Mr. Ambassador. And our friends from the State Department here. Thank you so much for being with us. This is the George Washington University, so I thought I would start with just a few notes about what is so significant about this place. It was founded in 1821, so we are getting ready for our bicentennial birthday party in just a couple of years. It was chartered by Congress in 1821 as a way to commemorate one of President Washington's greatest dreams, which was to establish in the nation's capital a center for learning and dedication to the public good. This was something that President Washington believed in deeply. And in fact, this topic of ours today, research into practice, and I'm going to suggest that that arrow actually has to go in both directions. But the idea of research oriented toward the improvement of policy and practice and the quality of life has very deep roots in the United States and in this institution. In his first inaugural message to Congress in 1790, President Washington said, "There is nothing which can better deserve your patronage," by which I believe he meant political support, "than the promotion of science and literature." So this started early. And in fact, since then, the American system of government and governance has enjoyed and cultivated a very special relationship between research, between the scientific community, and the workings of government and the workings of other institutions. You know that our new republic was founded on many ideals, many of which are still in the process of being fulfilled and implemented. But there was a pretty clear sense that we did not believe in philosopher kings or in scientist kings, for that matter. This was going to be a nation governed by the people one way or another. And yet, from the early days, there was an invitation to the scientific community to participate, to contribute, to add knowledge to the workings of government and to the improvement of the quality of life. Early evidence of that is with the formation of institutions that some of you are, I'm sure, familiar with, including one that I am too familiar with because I worked there for many years. But the National Academy of Sciences is a good example of an institution that was invented in the middle of the 19th century in order to establish strong ties and mutual sense of responsibility between the scientific community and the government. Now, one of the most interesting developments in the course of our still early history as a nation was, in fact, the idea of science having two fundamental purposes or roles in American life. One was the production of knowledge. And it was very clear from the beginning, and this is what I believe President Washington meant, that there was a responsibility to invest in science as a source of knowledge. And the question then became, over the centuries, who's going to make that investment? Fast forward to the end of the Second World War and some of our scientists and leaders came upon a formulation of an answer to that question by creating a system in which the federal government would support basic research, the universities would carry out much of that research, and the private sector would turn the research into commercial and viable and productive technologies for human use. Along with that came yet another very interesting development in the evolution of the American system of research related to practice. This is what we refer to as our think tanks, our what I call the advice industry in the United States, a fascinating addition to the whole infrastructure of science for policy and for use. My friends who live in this neighborhood will know what I'm talking about, but if you walk within about a 2-mile radius of this building, you will come upon many, many organizations that exist in order to try to provide some form of objective scientific advice to the workings of government. Do you know that today in North America alone there are over 2,000 think tanks, and about 1,900 of them are actually here in the US, and of those I would bet that 60 or 70% are just a few blocks away from here. So there's a whole lot of thinking going on. And the question is, what is it that we are asking of all of this investment in scientific knowledge? And it has two main purposes. One, as I said, is to produce knowledge, and the second is to consume that knowledge for the improvement of government, for the improvement of practice. Right now, I would say that the appetite for scientific evidence is still strong, although it is once again encountering some political and perhaps even ideological resistance, not just here, but in many countries. And yet we know that underneath that veneer of somewhat antagonistic attitude toward science and neutral evidence, there is a deep foundation of people and institutions and individuals who care deeply about the promotion of evidence and research to support knowledge and to support the improvement of government. In fact, my friends from the State Department deserve, I think, special praise and thanks for their efforts over the years to promote this spirit of cooperation between the academic community, the research community, and the government. Research to practice, we have learned over the years, is not the whole equation. Good research requires input from the world of practice. There is what some of our colleagues have referred to as the wisdom of practice. People who are actually doing the things that we in the academy tell them that they should do differently have a lot to teach us. And if we can figure out ways to make that relationship even more mutually respectful and mutually beneficial, we will be advancing the cause in very significant ways. If you think about many of the scientific advances, especially in my field, which is economics and the social sciences and education, the research quality has improved immensely by the conscious integration of knowledge from the field. So research into practice is great, and by the end of this conference, with Savinja's approval, I would like to see that arrow having heads going in both directions. Let me just close, because you have an opportunity now today to really hear from some people who are working on this in many different ways. There is, for us, a special honor to have this program here. In the School of Education, we have been blessed with the great good fortune of working with colleagues from Azerbaijan. This goes back now several years. We are on our way to formulating yet new and, I hope, sustainable and really interesting cooperative relationships. So this is a terrific opportunity for us, first of all, to thank our friends from Azerbaijan, and I know many of them are here, and many of them I'm going to be seeing over the next few weeks. This culture of collaboration is, for my money, one of the other main reasons that we care about the relationship of research to practice. If we can use science and academic inquiry and knowledge production as a source of communication and as a catalyst for collaboration and cooperation among nations, we will be doing our entire world a great service. I want to close with the other part of President Washington's speech in 1790, where he said, "Knowledge is in every country the surest basis of public happiness." So we are very happy to work with our friends from Azerbaijan, and I hope that as a result of this conference, we all end up being even happier. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Foyer. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. Now I would like to invite Mr. Elin Süleymanov, Azerbaijan ambassador to the United States. In October 2011, the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, appointed Elin Süleymanov as Azerbaijan's ambassador to the United States of America. Prior to that, for over 5 years, Mr. Süleymanov had been the nation's first consul general to Los Angeles and the Western states, leading the team which established Azerbaijani diplomatic presence on the West Coast. Earlier, he served as a senior counselor at the Foreign Relations Department, Office of the President in Baku, Azerbaijan, and as the press officer of Azerbaijani Embassy in Washington, D.C. Mr. Süleymanov's experience before joining the diplomatic service includes working in the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in Azerbaijan and Glaverbel, Czech, a leading manufacturing company in East Central Europe. A graduate of the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy in Medford, Massachusetts, Mr. Süleymanov also holds graduate degree from the Political Geography Department of the Moscow State University, Russia, and from the University of Toledo, Ohio. Mr. Süleymanov.
Good morning, everybody. Dinfer, thank you very much for a warm welcome, your remarks. You don't have to convince me about the importance of the George Washington University. My daughter was born here in your hospital, so the connection is very strong, and I can't escape it, so thank you. Thank you for building this hospital. That's important. Thank you. I want to, of course, thank our good friends from the State Department, Ms. Craven. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Ms. Ed, for being here. Please pass my best regards to Assistant Secretary Rose. She's doing a fantastic work on promoting education around the world, so thank you. Thank you very much. I, of course, want to welcome everybody, our delegation from Azerbaijan, from the Ministry of Education, and our other friends here being here from the Presidential Library and other institutions. I want to extend a special welcome to a very special person here who has done so much for promoting the Azerbaijani identity in the United States and supporting so many projects. And he's been at the beginning of a very so many good things at the very foundation of them all. Dr. Shapur Ansari was there when we needed to establish the U.S.-Azerbaijan Chamber of Commerce. Shapur Ansari was there when I was a lowly student in the University of Toledo in Chicago, I'm dreaming, in Ohio, and despite the fact that he lived in Michigan and they had a war, he would still support my efforts there, so thank you very much, Shapur, and thank you for being here. You're a very special person, thank you. And of course, my very good friend, and apparently much smarter ambassador than I am, Ambassador Professor Cecilia Nahon, thank you for being with us, and I look forward to hearing your remarks as well. Thank you. The idea of establishing the Azerbaijani network of academicians is extremely useful and timely endeavor. Why? We have been doing many things about Azerbaijan. I mean, we've been promoting Azerbaijan in terms of the strategic importance. We've been talking about energy. We've been talking about the conflict. We've been talking about the place of Azerbaijan. But in order to do that, to put it in an academic perspective, we need to develop our own expertise, to make sure that our expertise matches the world expertise. And I know that this effort, among others, was led by Sevinç Mamedova and Çivana Seferli. And I think both, by the way, students and graduates and researchers here at George Washington University. There's something very special about these two ladies, and I'll tell you what it is. And if anything, they're actually the proof and evidence of things that work. Çivana is a product of the Azerbaijani Study Abroad project, which was supported by the Azerbaijan government. So what happened was that we sent many students, about 5,000 students abroad to study. It was not very well focused at the time, but it produced basically a new elite in Azerbaijan. And now we have people like Çivana, who is working on promoting Azerbaijan and working with others on developing academic exchanges. Now, Sevinç is different. She came here on a MASKI program, which is a US-supported program. So there was this convergence of US-supported education exchange program and Azerbaijani government-supported project, it doesn't happen very often, by the way. So there is a symbiotic relation, which is very important. Now, I can't promote MASKI program and Sevinç too much because I'm myself a graduate of a MASKI program, so that would be a little bit biased. And I say, of course, as ambassador of Azerbaijan, I should be promoting our own program coming from Azerbaijan. But MASKI was a very good program. Sevinç, I have to admit, they treated you much better than me. They send you here. They send me to Toledo, Ohio. It's a great place. No complaints. Really fantastic location and all this, but they treated you better than me. Thank you. As someone who grew up in an academic and scientific family, I went astray to become a diplomat, which is still a big shame in my family, but I'm trying to overcome it by connecting to academic circles. Your motto of this conference is very important. In fact, it points out that the weakest link in our scientific education system. Following the collapse of the Soviet Union, and even prior to the collapse of the Soviet Union, the connection between practical implication of research and research itself has always been absent. And there was a very simple explanation for that. There was no marketplace. There was no real demand for implementation of anything you do. There was no need to do that. And that weakness continues to be with us today. And I come from a country which is, at the breakup of the Soviet Union, was 99.9% literate. It still is in many ways, but it's not in some ways. So we need to think, how do we reconfigure and how we refocus our efforts? Because Azerbaijan is not the Soviet Union, not in terms of the size, not in terms of resources. We cannot maintain the same wide-ranging spectrum of research, and I don't think we need it, for that matter. Now, it's very difficult for me to say, as my own grandfather established the Academy of Science in Azerbaijan with theoretical physics departments being one of the best in the world. In fact, my own family members led the space research in Azerbaijan, but we don't need it now to the same extent. So we need to think back, step back, and think how do we practically implement these ideas, and that connection, of course, which exists to the scientific research, going to the universities, implementers, and actually bringing them to the marketplace is very important. And I appreciate what Mr. Ferrer said. Very often when you meet the academics, they tell you what to do, and I kind of say, I know I'm not that smart, but it doesn't really work in real life. And they're like, you don't know it because you're stupid. I say, yeah, I know, I'm not educated enough, but it just doesn't work. And it should be a two-way conversation in which people who consume and use our research are actually able to have a say why they need that research. I think that's an important conversation to have. Now, I'm very proud to say that from the very first days of Azerbaijan's independence, the government of Azerbaijan is very committed to developing human resources. And there's a reason for that. We know that our energy resources are limited. I mean, they're limited and finite. That's a normal thing. Every natural resource is finite. The government understands this. President Aliyev personally is very committed to developing human resources in Azerbaijan and building the new generation, building what we have as a wealth today in terms of financing, in terms of energy resources, into something which will be human wealth tomorrow. There's a very famous phrase in Azerbaijan, turning black gold over oil into human gold. And we're trying to do that. And successes have been quite obvious. But it has a long history to that. It's not a new thing. When I went to Moscow State University, I saw something which I didn't fully realize. There were many Azerbaijani students there, many. And there were graduate students and there were specialists. And I was asking, how did you get, what brought you from somewhere far away in Azerbaijan to here? And there was one reason. When Heydar Aliyev, our late president and the national leader, became the first secretary of the Communist Party of Azerbaijan in late 60s, early 1970s, what he realized is what Azerbaijan needs. And now that's an interesting caveat. At the time, the leader of Azerbaijan within the Soviet Union understood that one day Azerbaijan may become independent. And once it becomes independent, what it needs human resources. It needs to be able to lead itself. And what happened? He encouraged thousands and thousands of Azerbaijani young men and women to go and study in best universities in the Soviet Union. Many people didn't understand that. Many people who went to study physics, engineering, mathematics, they didn't understand that what they were doing, they were laying the foundation of a new, yet to emerge nation. The only person who understood that at the time was Heydar Aliyev. I didn't understand it either. I mean, I was too young. But now I see that so many people who led Azerbaijan, who lead Azerbaijan today, our ministers, our specialists, our managers, our human resources, they come from that generation. And the only reason Azerbaijan is able to move forward and to build on a certain foundation is because at certain point, Heydar Aliyev understood and began working to develop this foundation for the nation, which is now brings its expertise. And, for instance, in terms of energy and other things, Soviet Union was quite advanced, had a very advanced expertise. So that's the difference. For instance, I'll give you an example. I'm very impressed by the successes by other energy-producing nations around the world. They were very impressive. I mean, you go to the Gulf, you go to other places. The development is fantastic, unbelievable. But in very few places, you have your own indigenous workforce, your own indigenous human resources, which have a tradition. In Azerbaijan, we do have a tradition. Azerbaijani oil workers, Azerbaijani engineers have always developed and worked for over a century in developing energy systems, developing machinery and all that. This is not alien to us. So we have a tradition. One other very simple indication of that, and I think this is something to celebrate, since I'm thinking about this, is this year is the 100th-year anniversary of the establishment of the first university in the Caucasus. That was Baku State University. At the time, it was Azerbaijan State University. I studied 2 years there. It was a very nice school. It still was a very nice school. And that's an indication of this established standing tradition. There was Azerbaijan Oil University, Azi, engineering and oil and gas, and it's had the best tradition. In fact, former president of Angola was a graduate of it. I'm not sure why he's former, because he's been there forever. But we have an established school around the world, the alumni networks. You would be surprised how well established it is. So we have a foundation. Well, how do we move forward with that foundation? And that's up to you. Now think about this. I want to second what Mr. Ferrer said. The government can and should provide the foundation and basis for moving forward. But government cannot and should not do it by itself, cannot do it alone. It needs support and participation of researchers and thinkers and academics around the world to make sure that that effort is a combined effort to provide results for the welfare and benefit of both research and science, but also for the people of our nation and our region as a whole. So let us try to think about this. In early 1990s, Baku was a capital of academia, capital of culture, capital of development in the entire region. Now you look at Baku, it's booming, has the same air about it, but we need to fill it with academic excellence. And I'm very happy to see you here. I will look forward to hearing your discussions. Thank you for doing this. This is long overdue, I think. And I'm very happy that finally this is happening. Now, whatever we can to support you, we'll do. But to be honest, I think it's mostly on you, because that's, academic research is in many ways a collaborative, but also an individual achievement. Now, on the last point, on a personal point, please, I want to thank guys at the embassy and the girls at our embassy who worked very hard to make that happen as well. I know the key point of contact is Vugar, and Vugar, thank you for doing this, for your contribution to making that happen. And I think the reason he's done that is because deep in heart he's a closet academic, and he tries to actually write research. I have to tell you something, which is one of the most difficult things for me as a head of mission, is to try to make sure that the papers they write to Baku, the cables, are not too academic, because they want to go into this research and understanding things. So deep in heart, most guys and girls at our embassy are actually very academic, so please work with them. I will try to clamp down on the writing in terms of cables, but if they want to write articles or contribute to research, please do welcome them as well. Thank you very much, and best of luck as we work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Suleimanov and the embassy team and the rest of the ANA team that worked really hard to make this happen. Now I would like to invite our special guest, Ms. Marianne Craven, the Managing Director for Academic Programs in the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. The programs supported by her office include Fulbright Scholarship, Humphrey Scholarships, Gilman Scholarships, undergraduate exchanges, teacher exchanges, the promotion of the U.S. higher education overseas and study abroad for Americans, and English and foreign language study programs. Ms. Craven also worked as a liaison for the State Department with the East-West Center in Hawaii, and she contributes to the development of the U.S. positions on international higher education issues in multilateral fora. Ms. Craven is a career civil servant who began her U.S. government career as a foreign service officer, serving in Mali, Poland, and Italy. She has led several positions in the ECA Bureau in Washington, administering international educational and cultural programs. She is the graduate of Smith College. Ms. Craven, thank you.
Thank you and good morning. I'm very pleased to be here on behalf of the State Department's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. We're delighted to see this initiative to expand academic research and collaboration between Azerbaijan and the United States. To organizer Sevinch Mamadova, thank you for being such an active and committed alumna of exchange programs supported by the State Department. And I was also very pleased to learn that your ambassador is one of our alumni as well. And congratulations to you on pursuing a PhD here at George Washington University. And we commend all the exchange alumni, researchers, policymakers, and supporters who are engaged in the Azerbaijani network of academics and this symposium. Thanks as well to Dean Foyer and the George Washington University for your role in hosting and supporting this event. And I also want to recognize Ambassador Suleimanov and all his embassy team and the U.S.-Azerbaijan Chamber of Commerce for their support. And I want to express our thanks to the Azerbaijani Ministry of Education and the participation of the senior advisor, Mr. Hassanov, and for the partnership of the government of Azerbaijan on the bilateral Fulbright program established there in 1992. Education is a high priority for the State Department and an important element in our bilateral relations with Azerbaijan. I'd like to briefly mention some of the exchanges that are supported by my bureau at the State Department to promote understanding and collaboration between the people and institutions of our two countries, and that align with the goals of your new academic network. Working with our colleagues at the U.S. Embassy in Azerbaijan, and as I mentioned, in partnership with the government of Azerbaijan, we support the Fulbright Scholarship Program, which brings Azerbaijani faculty, scholars, and graduate students to the United States, and sends American faculty, postgraduate students, and English teaching assistants to Azerbaijan for study, research, and teaching. This year, Azerbaijani Fulbright scholars conducted research in the United States on topics such as forecasting index returns using nonlinear methods, and characterizing the genetic variability of fruit tree and grapevine virus populations. They were hosted by leading U.S. institutions, including Cornell University, the Cleveland Clinic Foundation, and Indiana University. We expect the outcomes of their research to include publications and continued collaboration between U.S. and Azerbaijani scholars, and hope that this research will extend as well to practical applications, to policy actions, and to progress in both our countries. A recent U.S. Fulbright specialist to Azerbaijan, historic preservationist Philip Meckling, spent 6 weeks this spring at the Azerbaijan Architecture and Construction University, the leading urban planning institution. He lectured and consulted on environmentally friendly and ecologically conscious approaches to urban planning and development. For students at earlier levels, we support the Global UGrad program, which brings Azerbaijani undergraduates to the United States for up to a year of university study. They're placed at colleges and universities across the country and have contributed an impressive number of hours of volunteer community service in addition to their studies and campus activities. Last year, one UGrad student at the University of Alabama won a prize for the best solo hack at the University of Alabama Local Hack Day competition. In one day, he developed a platform that supports tourism by allowing travelers to connect with local guides. And our FLEX program, which brings high school students for a year of study in American high schools, has more than 975 alumni from Azerbaijan at this point, including the current Minister of Agriculture. We'd be very happy to see even more students from Azerbaijan studying in the United States, and our Education USA offices and website can give students more information about those opportunities. Our Critical Language Scholarship Program sends American university students to Azerbaijan for immersive study of Azerbaijani language through intensive summer institutes. A new cohort of students just departed for Baku about a week ago. The CLS program for critical language study supports study in important world languages that we want to see more Americans speak fluently. And I think it would be valuable to your network also to engage Americans who've had the opportunity to study and do research in Azerbaijan once they return here and have a personal connection and experience with the country. Our International Visitor Leadership Program brings current and emerging leaders to the United States for an intensive orientation in many fields and meetings with professional counterparts. Last year, we supported a special project for vocational education, workforce development, and public-private partnerships that brought 5 professionals from Azerbaijan involved in the creation and development of the newly established Vocational Education Agency, as well as the draft bill for vocational education in Azerbaijan, to meet with counterparts in the United States. Our goal in all these exchanges is to build a strong network, a community for collaboration that continues long after the program ends. I know a number of the participants here today, in addition to Ms. Mammadova, are alumni of these exchanges, whether funded by governments or supported privately. We're proud of all that you have accomplished and your continued leadership in building knowledge and cooperation between our countries. I'm honored to join you this morning, and we're excited to see the wide range of topics for discussion and collaboration at your first symposium. I hope you'll be successful in seeing research and knowledge translate and interchange with practice, with policy actions, and progress for greater security, prosperity, and equity in both our countries. I want to thank you for your support of stronger relations between our countries through people-to-people exchanges, and wish you and the Azerbaijani Network of Academics great success. Thank you.
Now I would like to invite our special guest from the Ministry of Education. He traveled about 20 hours to get here, so I hope he's not jet lagged. Mr. Hasanli is the advisor to the Ministry of Education of the Republic of Azerbaijan and is currently the acting chief of Accreditation and Nostrification Bureau, chair of the Education and IT Permanent Council. Hasan joined the Ministry of Education in 2014, working previously as the head of the Study Abroad International Student Affairs Unit. He led the implementation of the first state study abroad program and took part in the development of the new state program on international competitiveness of higher education. He is the University of Bristol and University of Cambridge graduate in social policy and politics. Mr. Hasanli, the floor is yours.
Your Excellency Ambassador Suleymanov, esteemed colleagues from the State Department, Dr. Foyer, colleagues, compatriots, friends, it is my pleasure and distinct honor to speak on behalf of the Ministry of Education here today at the first U.S.-Azerbaijan Academic Symposium. Thank you for the introduction, Sevinch. I work for the Ministry of Education, and considering that I'm not from the diplomatic corps, I will shamelessly plug the ministry-run projects on exchange and give you our thinking on the very productive discussions that are about to take place today. First, I would like to thank the hosts for their gracious acceptance at this leading university, and the organizers for their hard work and assistance for me to get here on such short notice. Also, I would like to take the occasion to congratulate everyone on the occasion of the National Day of Salvation, which was celebrated just this weekend. Actually, it's a day off in Baku even today. It is a day that marked the beginning of an end of the sharp political and economic crisis in the 90s in Azerbaijan with the arrival of President Heydar Aliyev, and it laid the foundation for the prosperity and the economic development that we continue to enjoy today. Also, we meet at a time when the state strategy on education that was approved by the President Ilham Aliyev in 2013, and we meet at a time when the results are in full bloom. The number of students that graduate high school with good and excellent marks is higher than ever. The students who continue on to higher education, their numbers are higher than ever. The number of students going into teaching related degrees is higher than ever. And this is something both to celebrate and to be proud of. And I'm sure that the colleagues and the researchers at the human capital and education panels will have a chance to discuss and debate during these 2 days. But let me change my train of thought for a moment and talk a bit about what we've been doing in the last few years, and where do we see this idea of theory into practice, research into practice direction going on in the future. I myself am a graduate of the state scholarship on study abroad. I studied across the pond in the UK, and then I joined the Ministry of Education to work in different areas, including study abroad, quality assurance, and today I am happy to say that thousands of scholarships and scholars were set aside during the 8 years of implementation of the project for our students to have a chance to go to leading universities around the world, and we're happy to note that graduates and recipients of that scholarship are in this room today with us, and a significant portion of those graduates have come back to Azerbaijan and are taking the forefront at the reforms and the changes happening at the country. Now, leading on from that state program, which ended in 2015, the government approved a new state program on increasing the competitiveness of higher education in the Republic of Azerbaijan. Now, there are two parts to that program. The first one is that the government will be setting aside scholarships for PhD study abroad, so that's something that colleagues might want to look into or recommend to others. But also, more importantly, we're looking into establishing partnerships with leading universities of the world to start double degree programs in Azerbaijan to make sure that the local universities transform and change in a way that can meet the demands of both the international research community and the increasingly competitive environment in the economy. It is probably the worst kept secret that we are working with George Washington University, which we are happy, I'm happy to visit for the second time this year, and we are looking forwards to a fruitful and productive cooperation leading forward. Now, there's a reason why this model was chosen. We had a very good experience in the past establishing double degree programs in Azerbaijan. One of particular recognition would be the France-Azerbaijan University that was established in 2016, and it is operating in conjunction between the university mentioned earlier, which is the University of Oil and Industry in Azerbaijan, and a consortium of French universities led by University of Strasbourg. And what we see is when this collaboration happens at university level, when both exchange and joint research and rich discussion come together, that results and outcomes both for graduates and researchers is more positive, more productive, and more fruitful. Now, we are targeting a particular set of things in this program that I would like to share with you, and perhaps this might inform your discussions going forward in the next 2 days. Obviously, in the last couple of years, Azerbaijan has increased the number of scientific publications. This is according to Web of Science, and we've now taken the first spot in the Caucasus, but obviously we're looking to improve the quality as well. So it'll be an opportunity in these 2 days and in the double degree programs going forward to contribute to that process and to make sure that the leading research is happening and benefiting the country and the economy at large. Also, we're looking to improve our local journals and to increase their status, to increase their visibility and to increase the quality of papers and quality of research being conducted at this level. And this will obviously happen only through the cooperation and the partnership and the joint work and joint research of academics, both in Azerbaijan and all around the world, and obviously US and the students and researchers who are in the US will take a leading role in that. All in all, I hope that the event presents a fresh opportunity to look into how we can deepen our connections, how we can explore new opportunities for research and cooperation, and also find ways to benefit our countries and the relationship between our countries further. Thank you very much, and I wish everyone the best of success. Thank you.
Now I would like to talk about one of our special guests that when we started talking about this conference a couple of months ago, I have never seen anyone love Azerbaijan more than him, and I have never seen supporting research and practice more than him. So Dr. Shapur Ansari, he is a general surgeon, and he has been practicing for 51 years. He graduated from School of Medicine, Tehran University of Medical Sciences in 1963, and specializes in general surgery. I know he missed his grandson's graduation to be here, and he's flying to Europe tonight. Thank you so much. It makes us feel very special that you actually take time to miss your grandson's graduation and be here, and you're flying tonight. Thank you very much, and the floor is yours. I am sure you would love to share some of your experiences and thoughts working with Azerbaijanis and Azerbaijani universities in Azerbaijan. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I am very happy to be here. I am old, but today I feel much older since I saw our beloved ambassador, Elin Suleimanov, because I remember him as a young student when he came to Ohio, and a long time passed, and now he has turned out to be a very skillful, experienced, and intelligent ambassador. Then I feel really old, but that I'm very happy to be here. Also, I missed my flight yesterday, and then I don't have anything to prepare, but I looked at the agenda here. There's a beautiful headline that translating the research to practice. This is what I told late President Heydar Aliyev. I had the opportunity to be in dinner meeting with him, with Speaker of the German Speaker of the Parliament. President Aliyev asked me that, how do you evaluate our doctors? We have a lot of good doctors here. And I have been going to the Soviet Union before the fall of this communism and after, and I have visited many parts of Moscow and the other part. So I have evaluated their medical practice. So I had a lot of hesitation to answer my true feeling now. I stopped for a couple of minutes. I said, Mr. President, during the Soviet times, you guys had a very advanced technology in industry, engineering. I remember that when Gagarin went to space, American had not sent to the space yet. But Soviet never was able to produce any car like Mercedes-Benz to the public. Could not be translated what they had done in research or the engineer doing to average citizen in the Soviet Union benefit from it. The same thing applies to the medicine. Today, I know that in heart transplant, there have been almost 250 engineers in Moscow working on an artificial heart. But when I go to the hospitals in every place, in the top-notch hospital in Moscow, I hear, and the other places, I see that the patients are not benefiting from it. So the fact that today we have a program starting the beginning of an academic opening, and knowledge is contagious. If they can be close to each other, they can learn. And only the wall and the barrier will prevent the people from learning more. As an Azerbaijani ethnic background, I always look at my own forefathers and so forth, see why the East fell behind the West so much. Of course, I am not an expert on it to say why. But one thing impressed me, I've read that when the first printing machine developed in Europe, it took about 250 years, the first one to arrive in Ottoman Empire. During that 250 years, a massive amount of knowledge was spread all over the Europe. Journals, universities, and books, and the printing machine. But they were not aware of what goes on your other side of your neighbors. So today's academic exposure for the Azerbaijani young academician, I'm glad that they have decided to open such a program that the academician from Azerbaijan can be travel and can exchange idea with the other academicians all around the world. And I am only can foresee a very bright future for the future academician. I hope we can be helpful on that. First step is always the beginning of a long journey. Thank you very much.